Welcome to the Nuff Said podcast. We are discussing season 2, episode 3 of Agent Carter, Better Angels. And we've got other news and stuff to talk about too, but I'm your host, or one of your hosts. I'm Rob Southgate. With me,
I'm one of your other hosts, or maybe a future host, Jack Wengrosky.
And I'm just the guy just sitting here waiting to go to bed. This is Alil.
Aw, sleepy Alil.
Num.
Num.
People don't know our schedule. Like this, we could be at like 2 p.m, and Alil's like an 80-year-old guy waiting for his nap.
I'm tired. I got Sasha waiting for me. She is my giant pillow friend that I cuddle with at night, and she's cold.
Oh, there goes the PG rating.
Yep. Way to go,
this
Alil.
episode will not play in China now. Thank you.
Why? Because I cuddle with a pillow?
Yeah, no, it's just a stupid reference about the whole
I know
thing.
Yeah, okay. So are we going to talk about this episode? Jack, did you watch this one? Did you watch the second one from last week yet?
Yes, I did. And actually, I went back and watched both of them. And at first, I have to say, I was reading the reviews and everything, what everybody said. And I really almost called you back. I think I texted you and said, man, we got to redo this because, it kind of influenced me in a negative way, the things that I saw in the media. And then I watched it again. I was like, it wasn't that bad. I didn't get the sense of negativity that I saw in a lot of the reviews. Did you?
I did not. Last week, we kind of picked it apart a little bit because I think it was different and it didn't live up to expectations in some ways, but still it was good. And I was waiting for it this week. And for me, I thought this week was great. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
What did you think?
This week was good. I don't want to say great.
I don't think any of us are saying great, but I think that it's better than some of the reviews I'm reading, and it doesn't deserve that.
You know what? I guess the problem I have is separating myself for the love of the universe to what I'm actually watching. Because at times I love Howard Stark. So anytime he's on screen, I'm super engaged. This last episode, when he wasn't on screen, kind of wasn't that engaged. There was a few cool parts, but then outside of that, I was just like, I don't know there's something missing here that I can't put my finger on between last season and this season so far. We're 3 episodes in and something is missing.
All right.
To me, it's that interaction where you had Stark, you had that tie-in, although it's the old Stark, and I think they don't want to be too reliant on him as a character, that this is really all about Peggy and she should be really driving the show. But, it's that other half of the old school that, drives the science, drives the, kind of drives that bus. It all kind of goes back to Tony at some point. And I think they kind of went overboard in eliminating too much of him.
Wait, too much of who? Of Howard?
Tony Stark.
Howard
Stark.
You got me. I got lost in this one already.
Oh man, I just finished a show with the Sharks and the Jets, and all I have in my head is right now is bup 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 for like 5 minutes at a time. Just goes on and on.
Excellent.
So anyway,
this will be a great episode.
So in everybody's head, just kind of rewind and insert Howard Stark and
done,
the fact
and
that
done.
There you go. So I think that kind of got lost on you. The point being is, I think that influence isn't there where we know it should be.
Okay.
Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think that we're just grabbing at straws here for what's wrong. I'm still liking it. I'm still having fun with it. It's not bad. It's just not. It's not like if you've watched Arrow. Like, there's something wrong with Arrow. It was fine in the first season. I've watched here and there. I tried to watch one of them from this season, and it was like so discombobulated. I didn't know what the hell was going on. This doesn't have that problem. This is not like out of whack like that, but there's something a little off. And I really do go back to thinking it's the new showrunner or the new writers. The interactions with, you know what, I might have something here. The interactions with Jarvis are weird. Like that whole thing of like he's trying to be her partner. Like I think they don't know what to do with that.
Right.
Or they're forcing something. I do say though, I loved it this week when he made the comment about not wanting to be a disembodied voice.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. I think they used him a little better in that respect. I loved, like you said, man, when Howard was on, it was the Howard show. And I love his interactions with Peggy. I actually liked this stuff. Like when Peggy was hiding in that room and she was under the desk and then she threw the barrette thing and it was on fire. I was like, all of that was really cool. That was last season again. But I think we don't have a definite big bad, and this senator is not the big bad. The wife, Madame Mask, is going to be, but I need her to get to the point. I need it to unravel a little bit quicker. Maybe that's what it is. That and the Jarvis thing has been a little weird.
Yeah, maybe it's just the flow.
Yeah.
Maybe these guys kind of aren't plugged into that history, or maybe just getting from A to B. And I think a little bit of it is we got so excited about it, and then we just expected, like the memory kind of gets cloudy, and then all of a sudden you come back and man, it was like the best thing ever. And I don't know, they had some like really interesting kind of pseudoscience kind of going on, but that I don't know. I think the difference between this season and last season was, I don't know. I think it's the interaction.
Well, it might also be that sophomore slump thing. Second season, last season, they kind of caught lightning in a bottle. This season, they're going, you know what? We've got a good show. We've got good actors. Like everything's there, but something's just a little off. And this happens, man.
Or just a little different and not what we expected. Because
Sure.
You change something like the writers, and that's a huge impact.
I do like that this episode didn't feel like a continuation of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like we were complaining about that with that Zero stuff. This time, yeah, that was there, but I didn't feel like it was selling me on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I think that helped too.
Right. And was it this episode that kind of came up with their version of Hydra? Or was that the second one? I'm always like a little confused when they have the first two episodes on the first episode. I get lost.
Alil, are you asleep?
No, I'm here. I'm just soaking in the conversation.
Soaking in the Carter. Well, what do you think, Alil?
No, I still think that it's still chasing the Shield tail here. I mean, we got they're still talking about that group that we're anticipating to be part of Hydra. What
did they call it? They called it something in this one.
Council of Nine? Was that?
No.
Was that something else?
That was something else. That was the group that was talking to the senator. No. They called the group, the one that had the pin, something. Didn't Stark say it?
Because of the club.
Right.
He was talking about the club and how lame they were. You know what? I don't know. I can't remember now.
Yeah. Did you guys catch the Kid Colt thing? Of course you did, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was fantastic.
That was the best part of the show.
It was really great because I saw it in the background and I paused and went back and I'm like, oh, sweet. Then they made sure they got the money shot where you really saw it. But that was really a cool thing to have just kind of lurking in the background there.
Yeah. It's fun. It's stuff, Jessica Jones kind of did that with what was it, Hellcat? What's her face? Her friend. They
Patsy.
Patsy, thank you. So it's cool that they're doing that and throwing those little nods to the very early days of timely comics.
Well, I found the thing I was looking at. It said this week's Marvel Comics tidbit on Vulture.com. Showrunners Tara Butters and Michelle Fazekas told Entertainment Weekly that the Council of Nine is their version of the Secret Empire, a shadowy group with ties to Hydra.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what? I also think that we may have had we may have our first Hydra guy, like the first guy getting pulled over that we're seeing. Because what's his name? Is it Jack? Jack, the guy who's kind of a jackass. You know what I mean?
Hey.
He when he went and met with the senator and he was with Red from that 70s show, that was totally an introduction into Hydra. But this is before they're calling it Well, it's not before they're calling it that, but they're just not outright calling it that. This is that other group that's tied to Hydra.
Right.
I don't think they're pulling him over. I think he knows and he's doing his own investigation. I don't think he's going bad.
No, I'm saying I think he's going to end up going bad.
No, that's what I mean. I don't think he is.
You don't. See, I don't think he has gone bad. I think that, him doing his own investigation thing, I don't know if he was until he saw that headline. Before he saw that headline, I think he was cool with all of this.
No.
Then he saw that headline and he's like, wait a minute, what she said is right.
See, I think he was cool with it because he watched the video that he shouldn't have, and then he told Red that he didn't watch the video.
Please, let's call him Red from here on out.
We're calling him Red. But I think he is one threatened by Peggy. I do think that he thinks he knows she's better than him, but I think also this guy's smooching him, and then he's seeing these little bits and pieces and he's waiting for it to play out. I don't think he's a guy to go to the dark side. I don't. I think at the end of the day he will do what's right.
You know what? I'm going to look something up while we're talking. Is that the same character that Bradley Whitford plays in the Carter short?
No, because the Carter short was also like a prequel. Like it was before Peggy was anything. It was
No, it's not. If you watch that Carter short, yeah, you think that, but what if that is taking place after all of this? Like the teeth have been taken out of her again. Now she is the lowest of the low in this group. And because at the very end of that is when they're forming S.H.I.E.L.D. and Howard Stark calls her in to be head of S.H.I.E.L.D. That is not a prequel because she's not head of S.H.I.E.L.D. here.
It's true. That is true. Well,
yeah, we kind of thought that was going to happen this season, didn't we? That was like the big.
I think this is all a prequel to that.
Yeah, it's very possible.
We could see something dealing with that at the end of this season. Like it would make sense if this is the last season they give us, which it could be the way the friggin' geek press is attacking it. If that is it, then you could have this season end with her having to go back to New York, tail between her legs, and she's pushed back to being a secretary. And then the next chapter is her getting made head of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, it could be. While you were looking that up, I was just thinking about the whole Hydra thing. Do you think they're going to reinvent some sort of Hydra? It kind of, I don't know, concern is the word, but it almost seems to me that, the Hydra group, which, there's been revealed that it goes on way, how many, I don't know, 1,000 years, or it's been around a long time started on, other planets. And it's like, well, really, is this a time before Hydra, or is it going to be a parallel Hydra? Or
it can't be, Jack, because Red Skull was Hydra. We saw that revealed in Captain America, and this is post Captain America. But they may think that Hydra's done. They may not understand because at that point they haven't seen that you cut one head off and another grows.
Right. Yeah, maybe we're just not to that point. They think Hydra's dead. But it just kind of makes me wonder, when they're saying that, they're having, I guess it's a version of a group with ties to Hydra. Maybe I misunderstood that.
And didn't we find out in Winter Soldier, they did like the Project Paperclip with all the Hydra people, and they lay dormant until that moment when they took down S.H.I.E.L.D. in Cap 2? Didn't they go dormant back then? So right now they're not going to know this is Hydra. This is another subversive group that's out there, but they are essentially, they definitely have ties to Hydra.
Right. And it's setting up some really interesting things, and maybe that's kind of where it all we're not getting a sense of the story yet because they're still setting up these other kind of things. We're setting up Whitney Frost and setting up these, we've got, Dottie's back, and, it's like these, is it just too much of setting up the future stories and just not enough story in the episode? Or
maybe,
could be. It's it's a very short season. You know what I mean? So we're anticipating so much to happen.
Yeah.
They're kind of it's a very slow start out of the gate. I mean, what is it? 7 episodes, 8?
Yeah, that's another difference between the last season and this one was they knew they only had a limited time. They shot it out of the gate. They set up some things very carefully, but you got more of a story when an episode was over. Now I'm kind of waiting what's next to happen, and I didn't get that satisfaction. Like you get the end of the meal. It's okay, well that's good. Oh, I can't wait till the next course. And really, all I kind of got was the menu.
Okay,
it's not a bad thing.
And I think you might be right. I think maybe it is that there's just it feels like a lot of smoke and mirrors. It feels like there's a lot going on, but really, when you step back from it, not a lot is going on. You know what would have been a better choice? And too bad they didn't hire us.
First choice.
You know what? Forget you guys. Too bad they didn't hire me.
Hey.
See, Jack, that's what's going to happen here.
Yep,
Something's going to happen, and we're just going to be dumped and thrown on the curb.
Boom.
Rob's going to win the lotto. I mean, he's going to win the lotto, and he's going to be like, yeah, forget you guys.
The odds of me being the one that something's going to happen to are so dang slim. I think I'm going to get kicked to the curb first. Because
me and Alil will
going nowhere.
Run the world.
Right. But if I think a better choice, rather than doing all of this, let's tie it into the mythology and let's build this Hydra thing. I think they should have gone with a straight up like what we saw in that first episode when we saw the person frozen in the lake. Make that your story for a while. Make that before they start flipping cards on it. Make it so it's a good mystery. Peggy Carter should be a good mystery.
Yeah.
And when I first watched this show, when I was first watching this season, she gets out to L.A. Did you guys ever play the game L.A. Noire?
No.
Okay.
It sounds familiar.
L.A. Noire is a Rockstar game. So it's open sandbox like Grand Theft Auto. But it takes place during this time. And you deal with like the LA Police Department. You've got the Black Dahlia murder. Like when they made the Fatty Arbuckle joke on here, it's that time, right? And you're essentially like I loved the game. It could have had a stronger story to it, but it did have this, like, you're solving this mystery as you're going along. That's what this needs, is that constant thread of mystery, and let these other things be in the background, kind of like that Kid Colt comic. Let this other stuff be kind of floating back there so that we're sitting there going, oh man, is that Madam Mask? Is that what's going to happen with this? Instead of putting it up in your face, let the mystery take the front stage. And then by the end, the mystery is your MacGuffin. The mystery, right. The thing you've been following the whole time. Yeah, it's fun and everything and you're way into it. But by the end, it almost doesn't matter because, oh my God, all this other stuff exploded. And now you see the seeds that go forward into S.H.I.E.L.D. That would be the route.
It was that whole Howard Stark weapons thing last time. It's like you're following that, and
that was your MacGuffin, was the Howard Stark weapon. This time you don't need him doing that. Let a good mystery be your MacGuffin.
Yeah,
that's what we're missing. Yeah. Where's the mystery?
It's a mystery to me. How'd you like that?
So that black stuff inside Madam Mask, are you getting a little bit of a Venom vibe off of that? The way it moves around?
Yeah, I don't think it's the same thing in S.H.I.E.L.D. now. Like, after this episode, it didn't feel like it was going to be the same thing.
And how much longer is that scar on her forehead going to keep growing every time she absorbs somebody? Or
well, that's why she's going to have to wear a mask.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Madam Mask. Go figure. Like, it's going to be one of those things where you lift up Darth Vader's head and you go, oh my God, that's horrible.
So that's got to be what's going on, right? I mean, they're not going to like have her not be Madam Mask, right?
Yeah, it would be a whole lot of setup otherwise. And, and she's just growing into like a big, powerful machine. What do you do with that if it's not Madam Mask?
I agree.
What about you, Alil?
It has to be Madam Mask. I mean,
it has to be.
It has to be. I mean, they even had in the background, you saw the masks. You saw. I mean, they're setting it up for that.
They're totally playing their hand with that, right?
Yeah.
The problem with that character is like adding this entire alien ooze thing. Kind of, I don't know, changes her. Changes what that character really is, and I don't know if if it works. Like when she sucked in that person, like it was just weird. It was just weird that the scar grew when if they wanted it to do something, what I would have had to do is like make her look younger. You know what I mean? Like have her want to do stuff like that.
Oh, like a kind of like a vampire.
Yeah, like like you hear her fountain of youth is to suck people's souls inside of her because it feeds her or whatever. However, I mean something, but just her freaking out and then the scar getting bigger, like it's clearly she's going to cover it up with a mask. I mean,
right. Well, I mean, if you didn't have that, I mean, there's always a price to pay for that dark power, and if she just looked better, why would she wear the mask?
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of, I don't know.
It's kind of, I don't want to say predictable, but it's a little predictable.
Yeah.
So
once again, that kind of takes away the mystery element of it. And, that's one of those things, now that we're talking about this, once again, I don't want to sound like I'm down on this show. I'm actually really enjoying it. I look forward to it each week. But, with Martha, with my wife, so she doesn't really like these shows, right? One of the reasons is when when I show her like the shows like this, or even like a Star Wars or anything like that has, that geek thing, I know all this backstory. I sit there and watch it and I'm like, oh, that's this and that's this. And she feels lost. We tried to watch The Dark Knight. She still hasn't seen The Dark Knight because we started watching it and I was like, I was trying not to explain stuff. And then she asked me a question. I started to explain it. She goes, this is why the barrier to entry is too high. This is why I don't like this stuff. I think that's what's going on here. Like that's also going on where it's like they're trying to pander to the fan and give them these things, but we don't need that the same way. Let it be further in the background. Let's get Peggy Carter's story.
Yeah.
Or let's get a good ass mystery.
I like the mystery thing because I feel like that's what we got last time. That you're following along, and then it's like something in the background was like, hey, wait a minute. This whole other thing is going on. Remember the thing about the scar on the guy's neck, and all of a sudden, well, they can't speak, and then it grew into this whole other thing, and all the other storylines, and you were following, like you said, you were following the mystery, and then all this other stuff kind of came up to the surface.
Right.
It's very satisfying, but yeah. I do enjoy the show. I don't get the negative press that they're putting on this. I think, I think
it's not a bad show. That's where it gets hard. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's just
there's a lot worse out there.
Yeah, it's just maybe the promise hasn't been fulfilled.
Right.
And who knows? It might be fulfilled here in the next couple of weeks. I mean, it might. All of a sudden, we might be like, oh, my God, they set this whole thing up, and it's perfect. They did it right, blah, blah, blah. But right now, it's like we're waiting. We're like in the first 2 chapters of a book, and we're waiting for for the finale or for the climax.
Right. And we complained about the very same thing with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. when it first came out. It's like, when is this thing going to take off? It's like painful. And, it really did take off. And
true.
So maybe they're hoping to play the long game, and hopefully they have enough episodes to do that.
Yeah, I mean, how long is the season? 12 episodes?
Oh, like 8.
What?
And they blew 2 in the first show.
So next week we're halfway through?
Yeah.
Oh.
Rob gets the no prize.
Yeah, because
well done, Jack.
Ta-da!
I thought it was expanded this season.
No, S.H.I.E.L.D. comes back in March.
Oh, man.
See, the problem is I've expanded. I'm about 5 pounds heavier than last season.
Right.
Thank you. I'll be here all week.
And, it's funny because you're saying that you're reading negative press, but then, like, places that I read for just general geek reviews and stuff that I tend to like are all liking it. They're having the same kind of, discussions we are, but they're giving it pretty high ratings because they like the show.
Well, that's cool.
So I don't know, but see, there's always that like geek backlash that happens, man.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's kind of like, like Arrow. Arrow comes out, first season, I hear how everybody loves it. Second season, I got so many people telling me how much they hated it. Third season happens, more hate. Now everyone talks about how season 1 and season 2 are amazing. And that 3 fell off the rails. And I'm like, wait a minute. Everyone told me that 2 was terrible when 2 happened. So
Well, it's
I
just
think that might be what we're getting. But once again, sophomore slump. If this is the sophomore slump, it's not that it's really like, bad. It's just it needs to find its way. The first year was essentially the pilot for what's to come.
Right. And, we're part of that geek generation where, once Star Wars kind of came out of the box, there's this whole subculture of Star Wars fans and just picking apart everything. Like the next generation that saw 1, 2, and 3, which was before 4, 5, and 6, which is the first one that came out. And you talk to younger folks and they don't get
that. Jack, that was the least confusing thing you said tonight.
So there's hope.
Right.
As you go along, it gets better and better.
That's right.
And, I was, it was kind of on purpose because the whole unfolding of Star Wars has been rather confusing. And
you think?
But the older folks, like the whole Jar Jar Binks and all that, kind of I don't want to say hate, but a lot of criticism for the next 2. But this generation, the kids that came up with that really love that, and everybody picks apart different things, and it's not about hate. It's like everybody really gets into that whole Star Wars things, and it's like picking apart. And I think that's kind of where Agent Carter is now. You have all these Marvel fans, all these Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans, and it's just getting a lot of attention, good and bad. It might not be a bad thing.
So, all right. What else happened in this episode? What haven't we touched on? We touched on Whitney Frost.
The Doc
Wilkes.
Bring back Wilkes with the
what'd you think of that?
Ghost or whatever he is.
Hey, now, I got something to talk about with that.
Was that pixie dust they used?
Yes. Yes, you have to clap your hands if you believe in Wilkes. He'll live. He'll live. Mary Lou Retton's going to be playing him in the stage version. No. This is something I read online. I thought this was interesting. You can look up that character name. It's something Wilkes. And if you look him up, there is a character in the Marvel database. And it was a guy, it's an older character like this, like earlier Marvel, who created a invisibility ray, shot himself with it. I might be getting the story slightly wrong here. Watch, Charlie is going to be madly writing on everything. Rob didn't know what he was talking about. I'm Professor Esser.
Yeah, I'm sure he's going to come after you first.
Yes.
Not me or Alil.
Yeah, right. Jack, you're hopeless. So it'll be me and Alil. He'll just say Alil's just a genius because Alil is our Marvel guy on here. But what this guy did was he shot himself or something with this invisibility ray, and just like on here, he was kind of multidimensional. He wasn't quite there. The only difference, he couldn't be touched or anything. The only difference is on the show, they solved him being able to talk. On there, he could be in the room and looking at people, but they couldn't hear him or interact with him.
It's kind of a useless character, really.
So he could be seen, but he couldn't communicate his message. I don't know, maybe in that Netherrealm, pick up a Netherrealm pen. That might do it. You know how kids can read, when you write with your finger in the air, you write somebody's name and they're like, oh, you just spelled Jack. Why couldn't he do that?
I'll summon for you.
Oil can, but
nice
this guy,
Wizard of Oz reference.
On here, they did solve that by making it so he can talk. But does that mean he's going to just stay in this Netherrealm for a while? And how long does that last? Are they just going to have to by the end of the season, we found a way to let you go, but I'm not dead. Yeah, but you're invisible. See ya. Wouldn't want to be ya. Because how does he die now?
I don't know. I'm sure he gets old like anybody else. And
hey, man, what a perv this guy is. He's been making stuff float around Peggy, and he's like, oh, I've been following you. Hey, man, she changed clothes how many times?
There's got to be some benefits to the job.
I mean, come on, though. Well, I mean, you'd think she'd say, you didn't happen to, oh, yeah. Boy, you eat a lot of corn.
Yeah. It's not X-ray vision.
That's terrible.
Yeah, but who wouldn't peek?
I don't think invisibility gives you the ability to see inside her small intestine. My whole
yeah, go ahead.
My whole idea for revamping the show was to bring in Catwoman and and have her and Peggy team up. Peggy becomes a ninja. What do you think?
Well, they kind of did that with the Black Widow character, with Dottie or Dolly or whatever her name is, Dorothy.
Dolly Madison.
Instead of Catwoman, can we at least have a Marvel character and have it be Black Cat?
Yes.
Okay.
Although Black Cat would be not even born at this point. We need a character who would be around at this time. Just Peggy Carter.
Maybe it's Black Cat's great grandmother.
Maybe that's the other thing. We don't need the superhero element brought in here. There needs to be a gap between Cap and Red Skull and then the resurgence of the superhero.
Right.
Let S.H.I.E.L.D. grow, but not have, it seems like they're leaning towards that superhero thing. That might be the wrong instinct here.
But they've already played it out in Ant-Man that they've had superheroes prior, to Tony, because to us in the cinematic universe, Tony is technically the first superhero.
Sure. Why don't we get a young Pym in this?
A young Michael Douglas.
That'd be amazing.
Does he have a son?
Just have it they still could do this too. At one of Howard's things, here's Hank. He's a buddy of mine. I'd be like, oh, cool.
If he's got a kid old enough, just kind of hand the mantle down. He could be the son of Pym, or I guess that would be the
Pym. Son of a Pym.
Son of a Pym. Why you guys?
Young Pym.
So do you think she's going to put on a gold mask this season, or do you think we're just going to be left with her not becoming? No, just no. Do you think she's going to by the end?
Yeah, she's. They're not.
Only got 5 episodes left.
Yeah, but they're gonna close it. It's gonna ramp it up. I see that happening.
You think they're gonna kill her off before she'll put on the mask and
maybe not. They didn't kill off Dottie. I mean, Dottie, showed up here. She probably is coming back too.
I hope so. I like Dottie. Okay. See, that was another thing. Once again, let's go back to the mystery. We didn't know what the hell was going on, and when Dottie was revealed, it was a great reveal.
Yeah.
I think the best reveals here have been things around Howard, where it's just oh, cool. But
yeah, all right.
I like that Cold War Black Widow thing being in the background. I like that there's that whole thing going on, and they're kind of neglecting it. When we saw Dottie at the beginning of the season, I thought she's going to be important. Not yet.
Well, I don't think you can go full on Cold War just yet.
No, but I like it being. I like it floating in the background
before you can go. Definitely there were the U.S. Soviet tensions, but really didn't kind of go on, full blast till maybe late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah.
I don't think they're quite there yet. So it has to be I think they're going to play with the tensions, if not definitely.
Yeah. See, I just like it being in the background. We don't need Cold War. I mean, it is a little early for that, but that whole idea of, there are outside forces that aren't giant evil organizations, right? That are developing things just as we're developing things. And, I like that idea. And I think they need to capture that again. But maybe they are. Maybe that, now that I'm saying it, maybe they kind of are when they're doing this thing with the 9 guys and everything. Maybe they're playing with it, but it's not unfolding quite the way we need it to.
Right. And that's a big element. You still have the Axis and allies. The war is over, but it's not truly over. Germany was under occupation from the U.S. and Russia really up until the mid-50s. And they compete. The two governments were still competing pretty hard for control and territory, and that whole the whole spy thing was just taking off. So there's really a lot of rich history that they can tap into.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, okay. I think we've talked this one out, but we should hit. I just want to talk about this. I mean, I don't know if there's any other Marvel news, but that tweet that went out with the Dead No More.
Yeah.
What do you think? It's got to be related to the comic books. It's not MCU stuff, right?
Yeah, it's comic stuff. It better not be Uncle Ben.
How weird would that be? Now, I haven't been following, because I read Marvel U, and that's back. They're just now showing the Secret War stuff. So I'm behind on what's going on. I know they are unifying the whole thing and burning it all to the ground. So characters that have been dead are back and things like that. and characters like that didn't share the same universe are going to be in the same place. So Miles Morales is going to be in the same universe with Peter Parker, both of them as Spider-Mans, from what I understand. So
Peter is more the international Spider-Man. I mean, Peter right now in the comics,
baby, he's Peter Danger Parker.
He's got, Park Industries all over. He spends time all over. So Miles is kind of his Spider-Man for New York to kind of take care of his old stomping grounds while he's traveling the globe. He's kind of in the Tony Stark persona at this point.
Interesting.
That's kind of where he's at. Again, I'm not caught up. I've read the first 3 issues of the new Amazing Spider-Man. And
are those on Marvel U, or did you pick them up?
I picked them up.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I don't know what they're going with. I mean, we know that Captain America's coming back. They announced that at the 75th Captain America special.
Right.
But
this had spiderwebs in it. That's not who this is.
Right. This is something related to Spider-Man. So is this Gwen Stacy? Is this Norman? Is this Harry? All I say is just do not.
Is it Gwen? Because if they're doing, if they're unifying everything.
Yeah, Spider-Gwen. I mean, yeah.
So you have Gwen Stacy there with Peter, like done.
Well.
And not the wimpy little Peter that was in the comic that, I don't know if you read the Spider-Gwen stuff, but they had him be a character that was just real, like, wimpy. Like, because he doesn't become Spider-Man.
Right.
She does.
I only read the first one.
I liked it. I like the character a lot. Just like Silk. I like Silk, too. You really can't go wrong with these spider characters.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a fan.
We didn't know that. What a surprise.
It's
all right. Was there any other news?
Nope.
No. I'm really surprised.
There's no more news in the universe.
Well, no. I mean, any other Marvel news that we need to hit before we tap out on this one? Nothing?
Nothing that I'm aware of now.
All right. I guess it's all Deadpool until next time, right?
Think so.
Man, they're just marketing the hell out of that thing. So have you read that on, I know you've read Marvel, but Marvel U had featured Deadpool. So I read through a series, and it's an earlier series. So it's before he's a smart talker, but he's not nearly what he is now. And I got to say, I'm actually enjoying it. I have a problem with breaking the fourth wall. I've talked about that before. But you know what? Reading this comic, it did get me. So I was like, okay, I think I'm ready for this. I know you're super hyped.
I am. Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah.
When does the Alil Deadpool wing open up at your house?
After this movie, if it's as good as I hope, I think there might be.
I really hope it is.
A Ryan Reynolds hot toy. And...
Oh, yeah.
So on that note,
life size.
Oh yeah.
Oh, gross. All right, I'm done. Are you guys done?
I'm done.
No, not enough said. You got to give your social media stuff. You can find past episodes of this and all of our podcasts at our website, which is southgatemediagroup.com/Nuff Said Podcast, I believe. You can follow the show on Twitter at Nuff Said Pod. You can follow me at R Southgate. You can follow the company at SMG Pods. And we have an Instagram. Just look for Nuff Said Podcast there. And I think that's all the Nuff Said stuff. If you don't listen, the rest of the feed, we've got All New Marvel Review and we've got Super Connectivity on there. Both shows are rocking it. I have been enjoying them so much. Phil and Charlie are just doing a great job. And hopefully Zach and Jesse will be back to finish out that Jessica Jones series that they started. They said they were, but, by the time they get to it, I hope we don't have Daredevil 2 happening. All right, Alil, give your social.
At LOGEEKZ for the League of Geeks podcast, and that's Geeks with a Z, because we are hip hop.
Heck yeah. And that's it, huh? That's it for the social media. Jack, Let's hear it.
At Wengrosky for Twitter, and check us out at the Blacklist podcast. And let's see what else. I think that'll do it. We'll stop it there.
All right. Well, that's it. Until next time, Nuff said.
Nuff said.